Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So goal here today is to talk about essentially why your database is important. And this is kind of ironic considering what we just had this conversation a couple days ago.
I know.
So this is a deep dive into what we talked about.
So this is my one thing.
This is your, I would say this is your one thing. Now, this is going to look pretty basic because this is very models. Hello. This is very much the model of how we're going to run our database, how we treat our database, and how we treat our business. So we're going to go through some statistics as to why you want to focus on these people. And then we're going to go into some strategy around it, and then also the systematic follow-up with it, why we're going to do it that way. Any, not questions, but more of things you want to make sure we touch on when talking about the database today that you want to make sure. No? Feel confident that the content I have chosen is going to be good for you all. I like it. Okay, now I let's see. Looks like it's not working.
Oh, you have to like tap in the present.
Oh, okay.
Because the presenter details.
Which one is it down here?
There.
There you go. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, Eric Bradley, team leader here, and team leader in KW Cupertino Thrive. I've been in real estate for 13 years now, from an admin role to selling, to running a team, to running a brokerage, to growing an entire region, and now back to running a brokerage. And in that time, my job pretty much has always been to top agents in any marketplace that I'm in. And there's a common theme in talking to those top agents. Well, one is you find that the top businesses and the most profitable businesses, their main source of lead comes from their referral, comes from their sphere of influence. The second thing you realize is that you find a lot of top who aren't running database as their strongest part of their business. And what you find is that their profitability also is struggling because of that. So whenever we're just going out and our model is to go out and generate new relationships and build new relationships, that takes time, right? That takes energy, it takes brain power. So we're going to talk about kind of that brain power and that energy that goes into building a relationship. But when you're following the database law, the 4 database laws, you should see 3 things happen. 1, increase predictability. Why increase predictability in focusing on your database? There's already a relationship there, right? So you know you don't have to generate that relationship, and what I just talked about, the time and energy that goes into that. Increased efficiency. Where can you get efficiency from what we're going to talk about today in the 4 laws of database?
You don't have to build a report.
You don't have to build a report, so right, that's already there. That's already a given. But it's also that systematic approach. It's good. You got classes going on. I love it. It's a systematic approach so that it's not reinventing the wheel every time. When we get a new relationship into our life, we're not trying to figure out, okay, this came from an open house, so I'm going to follow up with this cadence. Oh, this came from a referral, so I'm going to follow up with this cadence. This is about having our business standards set, good to go, and we already know what's happening. We don't have to make those decisions. And increased profitability, highest ROI is the people that you already know, love, and care about. One of the quickest and easiest things that technology has done over the last 10 years or so is create a dent in our pocketbooks with purchasing data from it. So we know that data is king, data is queen, data is the biggest thing that we can have right now. If you look at tech companies, you look at really any companies, the ones with the highest valuations are the ones that are leading with data. So same thing goes for you in your business. Your database is your data. Hi, Yolanda. Is your data that you're going to be focused on here with this. Any questions on this? Cool. All right, so here are some stats. Oh, and just so you guys all know, you're going to have a QR code at the end of this where you can scan it and you'll have all these slides. Okay, so don't feel free, you don't have to take any photos of this. So this is from the 2022 National Association of Realtors survey that they took. So this is where, this is for buyers, this is repeats and referrals. And you can see here, this is the likelihood of people using their real estate agent on the buy side, the likelihood of them using them again. 89% in 2022 definitely or probably would use their real estate agent. So with these stats, we should go to the next slide, which is going to be where they actually met their agents. And it should look pretty similar, right? No, it does not. So you can see we go from 89% to just about 50% over there on the far right that actually do use their realtor. Oh, sorry, 12% actually do use their realtor again. 38% is leading the way by getting a referral. So we know that our clients would use us, and the numbers show that they don't actually always go back and use us again. And you're going to see the same thing for sellers. 85% definitely probably would use their real estate agent. The number's a little bit higher at 27%, but 36% are finding a referral from friend, family, or a neighbor. Anything crazy about these stats, or is this kind of what you guys all knew?
No, it's not crazy. However, could you just, never mind, I got her in.
Oh.
She's trying to get into the password.
Wi-Fi, oh. Good thing you didn't ask me, because I also do not know it. It's been saved in my thing all 3 years.
Capital N, capital L.
Let's talk about number one. It's building a database. Now, this seems very entry level. Eric, we know we need to build a database, and yet, right? So let's talk about how we're going to be building this thing. Where should I build this database? Keep it simple. CRM, it's a spreadsheet. To me, there are only two answers. What does CRM stand for?
Customer relation management.
Yeah, customer relationship management tool. So this is Command. This is Follow-Up Boss. This is any CRM on the planet. Use it. The key thing I want to highlight with this is I'm even okay with you saying you have an Excel spreadsheet. There's enough technology in Excel spreadsheet for you to be able to have it organized somewhat. So if you even want to take the big jump into a CRM where all the good perks and everything are, you can stay in Excel spreadsheet, but you need to have something. So even if you don't have anything, take out your phone and you look at your contact list. That is your database. You can very easily talk with Raymond, talk with myself, export that, and it turns right into a spreadsheet for you. So first place, CRM or a spreadsheet. Organizing your database. So this is something that the cleaner you do it up front, the more time you take up front, the easier it's going to be for you as you maintain your business. You never want to reinvent your business every quarter, every year. You want it to be something that you build standards into. We're going to talk about standards. You build standards into, and then you're going to build on. So this is for me just easy peasy. Tag them based off of likes, needs, and where you met them. Does this make sense to everybody, right? Pretty simple. One loves the Giants. Tag them as Giants. You see something cool happen. Someone hits a walk-off. I can't even believe I just said Giants and not A's. I'm an A's fan. If anyone likes the A's, I just know it's few and far between at this point. If anyone likes the A's and they're in, something good happens, which again is few and far between right now, you want to be able to go into your database, just click people who like the A's, and then boom, you can shoot a text message off to them. Did you see the game last night? Did you see that walk-off, right? Could you believe what happened? They lost again, 10 losing streak, 10 in a row. So it's just keep it easy for you. You met them at a dance recital. You see dance recital stuff. You can send it to them easy. So think about that when you're organizing it. All right, for those of you who don't know what this is the DCD2. So this schedule is something easy for you to be able to use to follow up with your clients and just have 4 phone calls a year. So the way that they separate this is the first letter and the last name of your database. And then you're just going to schedule each week. You're going to make calls first. So the first week of January, you're going to make calls to anyone with the last name that started with A and W. And then you're sending texts with people with the last name, letter N. The reason this is so helpful for you and easy just to follow. Now, is it the best thing ever? No, it's not. But it's a nice base for you to start. and have a clear, organized way for you to call everyone in your database at least 4 times a year. KW over the last, I would say 2 years, we've been releasing these playbooks. And if you haven't seen these playbooks, bug me and I'll share some of them with you. But these are playbooks from top agents from the country, and they're exactly what they do in their models. So one of the best ones that I have is from a gentleman, I can't even pronounce his last name, Dan Moran, something along those lines. I'll share it with you. But his model all around making 1 million GCI from his database. He follows this schedule, and he only follows a couple rules, and that's 4 phone calls a year and 4 client events a year. That's all he does. He has some touches that go out other than that, but he follows this schedule to a T and making sure that he's having 4 conversations with people a year from his database. And I'll even tell you, if you just do this part of it right here, where you're just having the phone calls, you're already going to increase your income if you're not already doing this. I had an agent I just talked to last Tuesday who averages about 1.5 to 2 million GCI a year, averages that. Did 3.2 in 2021. Obviously, we know that was a crazy year. And this person's coming to me because they want to get more listings. They want more consistency in their business. Someone with 2 million GCI wants more consistency in their business. Doesn't do any of this. Doesn't maybe 1 phone call a year, and that's kind of just on a lucky basis when that happens. So if you know that, if you know those stats right there, that there are people not doing this, leaving this stone unturned. Look at the opportunity that you have, because if you're doing this, could you bet that some of those people in your database might be in that person's database too? More than likely, yeah. If we know that leads are just being sold 20 times over, we know that people in our database are also in other people's database. This is how you control that and control that relationship. Get the 4 phone calls happening a year. Key things that you need: name, phone, email, email, and home address. That's it. You don't need to go overboard. Bonus, if you get their birthdays, anniversaries, and kids' names. If you are starting off or you're very seasoned in the business, this answer goes the same. Again, it doesn't matter how many veteran agents I talk to, they still don't know those bonus things at the bottom. I asked someone the other day, well, do you know their kids' names? They said, oh, no, I don't. So again, if we're just using this as a foundational piece for our business and making sure that we have these pieces of information in there, it makes phone calls that much easier. How many times have you guys heard other agents or yourself in your own head go, oh, I've already called my entire database. I've exhausted my database. Yvette laughs because it's a very common thing that you hear people talk about. If you don't have all of these pieces of information, then you have not exhausted your database. You don't need to call your database every day and ask for a referral every day, right? You need to first set the standard for your relationship. If your relationship is strong, then yeah, asking for referrals, you absolutely should be. You should be getting referrals if your relationship is strong. But if your relationship is not strong, feel free to lead with this. Lead with, I know you guys have heard this before, 4. These are your talking points when you're talking to people from your database. The reality is that your database is probably not thinking about transacting when they're on the phone with you. If you had to call them, they're probably not thinking about transacting. So don't lead with things about the market, things going on, right? You need to make sure that you're first and foremost showing up as a person who cares about them. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Law number 2, feed it every day. Now, this isn't you talking to it. This is you growing it, adding people to your database every day. So I had this is a trick question here. Who goes in your database?
Everyone.
Everybody. That's why it's a trick question. Everyone goes in your database. And this is something we talked about, Brian, Kenny, and Yvette and myself last week, that we have, and I'll go through the 3 cadences as far as the 3 cadences of communication with people in your database. But this is what your business should look like. You start up at the top here of the funnel, and this is prospecting and marketing. These are people you do not know. These are people that open houses, expired, door knocking, cold calling. That's everyone at the top. Then once you've met them, yeah, this thing doesn't work on TV, does it?
I think it's pointed towards the computer.
Oh,
Maybe. Oh, it might
I'm just
have.
gonna get Brian in the eye with the thing. But where it says 2 and 3, leads and contacts, what's the difference between a lead and a contact?
Contact somebody I think I know. No?
Well, I hope you know, you more than think you know them.
No,
You-
no, what I
you
mean.
Talk to them for sure.
I meant to say it front, I think a contact is.
Yes,
Somebody
you-
I know, and a lead is somebody that I'm trying to, that's what I think of. I can't read it something.
exactly. That is exactly what it is. So a contact is someone you've spoken to, someone you've met. There's a give and take as far as a conversation is concerned. A lead could be someone who popped into your system that wants to buy a house, or someone you met at an open house. Now, yes, you met them, but it doesn't mean you really connected with them and had a two-way conversation. That's the word I was looking for, two-way conversation. So what we want is we want to meet people and we want to put them in our bucket, and they're going to fall into 2 spots: someone I've met, someone I have not connected with. Then once we've actually connected with them, we want everyone in our database to become a MET, but we know that they're not always going to be a MET to start. So it's a journey as far as that's concerned. Then there's the second, or here, the fourth part of our business. Now there's some motivation there. Now it's action-based things. And we're going to talk even deeper about this here in a second. But now you have people in your database. Now they're raising their hand. Brian, yes, I want to do something. I want to buy something. I want to sell something. Now they're in the cultivate phase, and then we get them to the appointment and we know how it works from there. But this is an endless cycle. You can see the arrow here on the right side go back up after they close. This is the biggest mistake people make, is they think this is where the relationship ends. And this isn't where the relationship ends. If anything, this is where the relationship begins, is after you've closed escrow. So these are the 3 cadences of communication to me. Cadence number 1 is unmotivated, no timeline. These are just people inside your database. You know they live. You know maybe they live in a house that has a door. You don't know if they rent it. You don't know if they own it. Someone in your database. This is normal database touch program. So Brian, Kenny, Yvette, this is what we were talking about the other day, where this is your normal touches. Everyone should be getting these touches at all time. They should be not just touches that are based off of real estate, but they should be touches that also connect with them and help them in their day-to-day lives as well, right? Cadence number 2, this is motivated, but not urgent. Now this timeline right here, 6 months plus, you can gauge that yourself, however you consider a motivated or not motivated person. There have been plenty of scenarios. I've had someone who's 9 months out, and then all of a sudden they're 2 months out, right? It happens immediately. So however you want to kind of move this is totally on you. But this is someone who has motivation, but they're like, Yolanda, I don't know when, but if the right opportunity found itself, we probably would do some, or, I'm thinking about selling my house, but that's after my son graduates from high school and we want to get something smaller. So you're going to be giving them your normal database touch program and additional touches on the current market. They said, yes, I want something. I'm just not 100% clear on what that timeline is, or that timeline is a year or 2 years out, okay? The third cadence is motivated, urgent. It's under 6 months. And again, you can move that dial along however you feel as far as necessary. Normal database touches, additional touches on the current market, and bi-weekly or weekly contact based off of their needs, right? So there are only three types of cadences, but no matter what, the firm foundation is everyone should be getting the normal database touches every month. Questions on this? Does it make sense? I'm just so clear. I love it. How to grow your database. Seems somewhat self-explanatory. The ways of growing your database have not changed. The ways to generate a real estate lead have not changed. Now we can buy them off the internet, but from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s, expireds have always been a thing. For sale by owners have always been a thing. Open houses have always been a thing. Door knocking has always been a thing. Your past clients have always been a thing. But when we're looking at how to grow your database, I don't want you just thinking, how do I put people in my database who are motivated to buy or sell a home now? You want to think everything. Brian, you got the kids playing sports, you go to one of the kids events and you strike up good conversation with someone there. And you talk to them, right? That's someone you want to put into your database, connect with them well enough that, hey, would you mind if I shared this, and this with you, right? So you want to not just think about how do I put more and more people in my database who are motivated to buy and sell. Think about how do I just capture more and more people. Technology is a fantastic thing for this, right? If you leverage speaking into a video, you posting on Facebook, you putting an ad out there, you're going to get people who click on those ads who aren't necessarily motivated to do something right now. We're going to look at some stats here in a second too from Zillow that'll show you that most of their users are not actually engaged in buying or selling a house even that year. So it's important that your radar needs to be completely open as far as throwing people into your database. Now, obviously, we want to put motivated people in there. Absolutely. Lead generation is key. And the bigger your database, the statistics show that the bigger your pocketbook's going to be at the end of the day. Brian, you're not allowed to answer this question, but what is the number that you need to have in your database to be able to make 6 figures in real estate from Keller Williams research?
201.
201. 201 people in your database. So KW took all of Command's data and they pulled everyone's closings, and the numbers showed that the people who are making 6 figures in our company, the largest real estate company in the world, have 200 people in their database. So that's kind of your go-to number, 201. You want to get to 201 plus. So here's the other fun thing with that math equation. If that's what the statistics show, and let's say you have 400 people, 600 people, 1,000 people in your database, but you're not making that 6 figures, what does that tell you? Probably not working your database like you could, right? So there's a stone right there unturned. There's dollars just sitting, waiting for you. And they're literally just sitting there waiting for you. Any of you who have taken bold before, you know, one of the easiest and the first bold scripts you learn is, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I haven't been in touch with you. I know you bought a house from me 4 years ago. So there's no timeline. There's no relationship that's too old for you to spark it up again. And also when you do say, I'm sorry, the first thing they say back to you is, for what? What are you talking about? I have no idea what at all. I did not expect you to continue following up with me or anything like that. So just get yourself out of your own way. Call your people that you haven't been calling. It's a fantastic way to grow it. Any questions on this or anything that you guys would add that I didn't have on here? The one I want to highlight on the bottom there is newsletter. So obviously we're in the content creation age. I saw a quote the other day that said, are you a consumer of content or are you a creator of content? You see that too?
Yeah.
When I say that, what does that make you guys think? Are you a consumer of content or a creator of content?
Definitely more of a consumer.
More of a consumer? Yeah, I would say that same thing for myself. So the question is what are you putting out there for your database to hear? What are you putting out there for social media to hear from you? I listened to a podcast. So if anyone write down the name Amy Porterfield. She's a fantastic marketer. She has a podcast, and one of the things she said on her podcast, and I find this totally real, especially with what's going on here today. But she looks at social media as rented real estate, and that your firm real estate is your email list that you have. Why would social media be looked at as rented real estate? Think of the algorithms, right? If they change anything with the algorithms, if I don't like Brian's post or comment on Brian's post, am I getting a bunch of Brian posts? No. So the thing you can control is your email list, right? You sending an email out or not sending an email out, you know that's going directly to them. So when we're thinking about, oh yes, I touch on my database all the time because I post on Facebook, it's not really the same thing. And that could change at any moment's notice. Look what Elon did, bought Twitter, changed everything as far as Twitter is concerned. With all the, I don't know if you guys noticed during COVID, right? If you were advertising on Facebook, there was a period where it was working really well. And then all of a sudden it went down back a ways because they changed their advertising and marketing stuff on it. So it's important that when we're thinking about a foundation that we're building, you want to be as in control of it as possible and not reliant on things like social media. Now they're a must to be able to continue growing it. Great place to capture leads, great place to add people to your database, and your email list, a newsletter, something you're creating content for people to ingest is something much more powerful than just posting on social media and being seen on there. Consumer app. All right, let's talk about Zillow data. So who uses the consumer app in here at all? This is not a negative thing if you don't. Raymond, Rashali, Francisco. What have you, as far as your experience in using the consumer app, has it been good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I usually just use it to test how command works with it.
Okay.
So like sending stuff and how they receive it, how they can book appointments.
Do you ever browse on it yourself?
Sometimes, but I usually just use the MLS.
Okay, MLS. Rashali?
Many times my client use it and what they see to understand that I use it.
Perfect. So one of the main things I hear is, well, my clients use Zillow, my clients use Redfin. I'll just keep using those. And that it's easy to do that. The main thing I want you to think about in here is stats I didn't go over is where people found, or I didn't, we could go back and look at the stats, but where people found their real estate agent or where they first started the home buying process. Where do you think they first start the home buying process?
Going online.
Going online, looking at homes. We know that to be true. So if we know that to be true, do you have a higher percentage of capturing those people or a lower percentage of capturing those people if they're on your actual app?
Higher.
High, much higher. They're on Zillow. Zillow's sending that off to other people who are paying the highest price for it. So the key thing I would tell you just about the consumer app is give it a shot. Out of all the technology that's been released, if you've been here for 5+ years, this has been the most stable one that we've released as far as from rollout to get go. And I believe they're only adding fantastic things to this. The search functionality, as far as how it operates very close to Zillow. So I want to go through some Zillow Zats here for you to show you how consumers are actually using technology. So that says 83% of the users admitted to searching for homes with zero intent of purchasing. 83%. 83%. Would you love it to be your app from that 83% that's using it? Absolutely. 44% use it every week. 44% spend an average of 2 hours per session. That is adult TikTok, if I've ever heard it, right? Or not, right there. 44% are averaging 2 hours on it. 62% used it to snoop on their neighbors and friends. 39% looked up a manager or boss's listing. 52% shared it with friends, and 30% shared it on social media. 52% shared it with friends. So you guys know what happens if your app is in your client's hands and then they share a property with someone else. Do you know what happens when they go and click on that?
It tells you.
It goes back to you. You get notified. So again, I'm not going with some hoity-toity sales stuff with you here. I'm using real data that the market is showing us. This is where you want to be. This is where the easy peasy stuff will come from. Open houses are fantastic. Expireds are fantastic. Everything we do lead generation wise can absolutely help grow our business. And we are just leaving dollars sitting out there by not leveraging the stuff that we already have sitting in front of us. Then the last one, 60% surf before in bed, before falling asleep, 30% in the bathroom, 26% in bed after waking up, and 8% surfed in the car. They must all have Teslas for that 8%, because I've tried to search on an app during the car. It's not a very doable thing. Law number 3, communicate with it in a systematic way. Build a plan. If this, then that. So there's lots of times in marketing that people want to first spend the dollars up front without having the plan on the back end of what to do when that lead comes in. So that's what this conversation about here, as far as the third law, is making sure that you have a plan put in place for when you meet these people. What does the cadence look like? The cadence look like after. Moving from E to P with your database. What does E to P stand for? Purposeful. Yeah. And when I think entrepreneurial to purposeful with my database, it's getting away from just whoever calls me is who I'm talking to in my database, or whoever wants to have lunch with me next week or is invited to my birthday party. That's who I'm interacting with in my database. So making sure that you're purposeful with your communication with it, and then it becomes predictable after that. Mind share leads to market share. Think overkill and system ties. Now, that word overkill, I know, sounds bad. Sounds negative. The reality is when we're seeing people on our Facebook, when we see people via text or email or on the phone or anything like that, are we engaging with it every time? We're not. We don't. Most of the time, even someone we care about on Facebook, we'll scroll right past it. We look a little bit, oh, that's nice, and then you keep going. So if we know that to be true, then that's how we have to show up in people's lives. Now, it's not calling them every day, it's not texting them every day, but it's a distinct plan where they see you on social media, they see you in their email, they get a text from you, they get a phone call from you. There is something that shows up at their house from you to them. That's what I'm talking about when it comes as far as overkill is concerned. They can't not think of you. Yvette, you and I have known each other for probably 4, at least, something like that now. And before me coming here, or even before me taking over Cupertino, our relationship was based off of hugs and seeing each other at events, right? That's it. Yep. Now I see there's over 6,000 associates in Northern California, Hawaii. And I talk with a ton of different people. Yet her hugs and her passion when she saw me every time, that creates a spot in my mind, spot in my heart, right? That's not going anywhere. So it doesn't matter if I never saw another email from her, another anything, that spot's in there. We don't always get that luxury of being able to do that. So you have to think of my text messages, my emails, my Facebook posts. That's my technology hub. Right? It's a way for you to be able to stay top of mind for people when it comes to those times when they're just out and about and they're at the grocery store and someone says, oh, hey, thinking about buying or selling. You want your name to be the first thing they think of. Even though they didn't transact with you, I want to think of Brian. I'll tell you this story. So in 2014, I took over as a sales manager for a real estate team, which was one of the top teams in the company. That year, we were awarded number 5 in GCI for the entire company, 160,000 people. Whole team got to walk across stage, sounded amazing. Then we got back, so that was in February of so that was recognition for 2014, that was in 2015. We came back and our coach said to the Rainmaker, hey, are you gonna tell him or am I? And he was like, okay, I'll tell him. Said, we're going to tear the entire team down because we only made $7,000 in profit. Number 5 in GCI, only $7,000 profit. Now everyone made their money, but the business as a whole, only $7,000 in profit. And so in the plan to go from point A to point B to a more profitable business, we did 4 million GCI, and we did 400 units with the 4 million GCI. The next year, not next year, next 2 weeks, I got rid of 17 agents and was left with 5. And those were my SEAL team members. But the main thing that we were going to do was we were going to look at the budget, look at all the expense that we had for marketing, radio, TV, paying for ISAs who were circle dialing neighborhoods. You get a listing, then circle dial that area, you get expireds, call the expireds. Take all that stuff, and how do we go from a 85% brand new relationship business to a more 85% referral-based business? Because we know the ROI is going to be there. So 85% of that 4 million GCI were all brand new relationships that we had built. So paying for leads or advertising, getting those things to come in there. So the next year, we made a couple tweaks. One of the main tweaks that we made, sorry, it wasn't even next year, the next quarter essentially. So we found that out quarter one. Quarter 2, 3, and 4, we focused all of our energy on a script called the promise script. And the promise script was we sit down in an appointment and we tell you what our promise is as far as our customer service. We expect you, we're going to be giving you a 10+ customer service, Brian. And because that is so amazing, we expect that during this transaction, whether you're at work or you're out with friends or anything like that, you're going to come across someone who wants to buy or sell. And what we ask is, because we're giving you this 10+ customer experience, that you think of us and that you give us their name. Now you're teaching them, give us their name, and also share our contact info with them. Is that something we can do? Now, no one gives pushback. You're on an appointment to serve them. You tell them, I want to give you 10+ service. And because I'm giving you 10+ service, undoubtedly you're going to want to refer my name to other people that come across. Then you teach them how to give the referrals. And they say, oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we'll do that for you. Great. And then I would also, just so you know, if we go down the process and I don't see any referrals come through, then that's going to tell me that we're not giving that 10+ customer service. So then it would be okay if I have a meeting with you at that point to find out where it is that we're missing the mark. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. No problem at all. Now, from taking that script and running with it, now my business partner, Steve Lamoth, he was the listing agent at that time. The man's a machine. But we started getting referrals without ever transacting with those people in the first place. So we'd go on a listing appointment, give them this promise script, and then put them into our touch program. And then we get referrals from them, and we never did a deal with them, but they feel confident enough to give us their friends as far as the referral is concerned. So that just shows you, as far as the overkill, asking for it and being systematized with what you're doing, you can build these relationships without ever having to transact with them in the first place. That's how people's minds work. Any questions on that? Mm-hmm. All right, so most important factors for buyers: experience, 18%, honest and trustworthy, 17%, reputation, 16%, caring, good listener, then 10%, friend or family member. Most important for sellers: reputation, honest and trustworthy, friend or family member, knowledge of the neighborhood. So that brings you to this is my favorite discussion, honestly. This to me is how every person in my database, or any person agent-wise that I'm communicating with, I want to make sure that this triangle is full. So when we look at what buyers are looking for, what sellers are looking for, you have to first look at, what are you doing out into your database or into the marketplace? Are you building that reputation? Are you building that expectation that you can build trust with them? So the first thing is at the top. Are they getting the authentic you? Are they experiencing the authentic you? People can smell a salesperson from a mile away, especially in today's age. So are they getting the authentic you? One of my favorite things, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm not taking credit for this by any means, but notice on Deepak's Facebook, he's leaning more into his passions around dancing, around music, things like that, because that's the community he built outside of real estate, was that. So everyone knows that they're authentically getting Deepak because he's leaning into his passions. Bottom left, logic. I know you can do it, and your reasoning and judgment are sound. This is that honest, this is the reputation, knowledge of the area. Do you share valid knowledge and market stats that show that you know what you're talking about? People are constantly getting barraged with advertisements left and right. So when you are sending something to them, know that they are comparing that to what they just received from somebody else on the other side. So you need to make sure that the content that you're delivering out there is valuable and it's actually valid for the marketplace today. Is it building your reputation that you actually know what you're talking about? And last, but definitely not least, is empathy. Transactional breadth. When people feel like they're just another peg in your board of people you've sold houses to, they can feel it. They know. We just have a scenario, Travis is in the back, making phone calls with Tina, but Travis was telling me about an agent that went on an open house from this another broker's listing, but went out there, put signs out in the neighborhood, just like Travis told him to do. Showed up an hour early and had some info there for the buyers. The sellers drove around the neighborhood, looked at the signs, came in and said, wow, you put out more signs than our listing agent ever did in the last open houses. And then they said, oh yeah, and the house isn't selling. Should we take this off the market? And he said, well, no, here's some of these home buyer programs that are out right now that I would stick it out a couple more weeks. And they felt the empathy. They felt that he actually cared for them just by the actions that he put into place. So are you showing up in a way that people actually know that you care about them and you want to see them succeed? Or is it just get the listing signed and put the sign in the yard to get it sold? So making sure that these three things are all coming into alignment. Do people know that you care about them? Do people know that you're valid in what you're talking about? And are you being authentically you when you're talking to them? That ultimately builds the trust with them so that you can hit those percentages that every buyer and seller is looking for. This is your basic right here, 36 touch to convert. Again, you'll have the QR code so you can see all this. But this is the at bare minimum what I believe you should be doing for your clients each year. Now, when it says 2 touches, events, get-togethers, or parties, does this mean that you need to break the bank and spend multiple thousands of dollars? No, it doesn't. There's vendor partners that you can partner with on it to help sponsor, but there's other things that you can do that don't cost a ton of money for yourself. But the first one at the top, easy peasy, 4 phone calls a year. Make sure you're calling them at least once a quarter. Second one, 26 touches, bi-weekly email offerings, some type of information value to the customer. This could be a newsletter. This could be a market update. It could be a combination of the two of them. It could be something fun as far as discounts for other things going on. You name it, email touches going out to your people. 4 touches, promotional, direct mail, magnet calendar, market report, something that they have at their door. Could also be a birthday card, but something that they're opening up from you, a handwritten card, something along those lines. Again, that's different than just a phone call, different than just an email. And then 2 touches with an event or get together. This could be a seminar. This could be something fun. I was telling them the other day that you can go to a mom and pop ice cream shop locally. And you can tell your entire database, come on down for the next 2 hours. I'm going to be paying for free ice cream for you and your family. Then you tell the ice cream shop, anyone who comes in with my business card, I'll pay for their ice cream scoop, and I'll stand outside of the door and we'll true up at the end of it. And it's a great way for your clients just to think about you and for you to give them something nice. Questions on this 36 touch here? The fact that there's not a lot of questions means that you guys are like, I could put this into play tomorrow, easy peasy. I like it. All right, so these are ways as far as engaging when we're talking about events and things that you could be sending out to them. Building a community around something that you're passionate about. This is something that I think is huge in today's day and age. We are in the hustle culture, especially in the Bay Area. Everything moves very fast. So why not do something that you get the most energy from and invite other people to do it with you and become the center of that. There's tons of agents who have built big businesses just off of doing the things that they know and love doing and inviting other people to do it with them and being the center of that community. Educational seminars, Yolanda is working on these ones. For taxes, sellers, buyers, construction, trusts, there's tons of opportunities. We're all people who live in homes. We all live the same lives that our clients live. What are the things that you need? What are the things that you're experiencing in your life that you're finding struggles with? Those are the gaps that you can fill for your clients. Community events, make it fun. They can invite the whole family. I have a kid coming in probably a month, hopefully not sooner, we'll see. But I have a kid coming and now my brain is totally different. I need to think of things that I can bring the kid to as well. So don't just think of what I can do for the parents or that client who's buying a house. What's something that they can then give to their kids that brings fun and happiness to their kids? Vendor lists and discounts. Vendor list was it was my number one calling script when I called my database. Do you guys have any needs? Or I'm calling them to see what referrals they have for me. We're all in our emails. We can see that real estate agents all the time are asking for referrals for vendors, right? So do the same thing for your clients. Call Yolanda up. Your number one. You just sold her a house 2 years ago. Yolanda, just want to check in with you, see how you're doing. Go through Ford, right? Talk a little bit to her. Hey, the reason for my call today was I have some clients who are really in need of a fantastic plumbing professional. Have you used anyone, or you have anyone that you recommend in your database or in your life? Now, there's two things happening there. One, I'm valuing my client's opinion. That's powerful. Number two, what am I teaching them? Teaching them referrals. Teaching them how to give referrals. Oh yeah, I know Bob. Bob's a fantastic, I have this guy, Bob the builder. He's a fantastic plumber. He's great. He also builds things too, if you want him to build as well. But you're showing that person the value of sharing and caring for one another by giving a referral. And then direct response marketing, home value, instant offer, or fix it before you fix it before you list it. These are fantastic, especially on the bottom there. These are things that home value, I'd say people are doing pretty often, especially you can go on Zillow and get a Zestimate. There's a reason that Zillow has Zestimates. It's because people want to know their home value. And I understand that lots of people flood the market with, hey, your home value. You want to get your home value? Just scan this QR code here. You can get your home value. It's still one of the most clicked on things because people do want to know their home value. But think about the marketing that you're putting out there as far as to get people to engage in things. Again, put your consumer hat on. Our emails are flooded with marketing. So any email that you see a subject line or something that engages you, that makes you want to click on it, steal it, copy it. Understand the mindset that they were doing with that, because you want to run the exact same thing. So that's the same thing with direct response marketing. Do you want this? Great, click here and you'll be able to get it. The fix it before you list it. Again, this is not something that's uncommon here. I think a lot of us here in this room have a relationship with a contractor and have had to fix up a home before we listed the home. But the question is, are you talking to sellers before they get to that point, before you've gone on the listing appointment? Are you actually getting listing appointments, letting people know, Brian, did you know that we can actually fix your home up before you list it and then pay it back after escrow? That's something to get engagement from people who are hearing the same thing over and over again. Are you motivated to sell? Are you motivated to buy? The interest rates aren't that bad. Look at over time, right? We all kind of say the same thing. So we have to think about things that help us stand out. And having something like a direct response marketing where you're trying to take the same thing that we're already doing and put the conversation up front, change the way that people are looking at it. That's going to get more people interested. Law number 4, service all the leads that come your way. So before we dive into this one, who's gotten a referral and it's just been a real pain in the butt that you don't want to deal with? It happens. It absolutely happens. Can I ask how do you handle that situation?
Basically, be patient.
Yes.
That's
patience is a virtue.
And instead of thinking about what I'm dealing with currently, I focus on what I will get.
Exactly. Yvette, anything you would add to that?
I'm just fat. I just give it away to somebody else.
But you make sure they're taken care of. You don't just say you don't just ghost them, right? You're not responding.
No. I just got I'll say this because I just got a referral a few days ago. Well, somebody called me and said that their aunt died, and they wanted to know if I would handle something in Vallejo. And I said I could, but I think you'd be better served with somebody else who's actually in that area, and I have partners up in that area. So that's what I mean by when you think it's going to be a pain, the amount of driving and so forth. So I gave it to Jason Moon. So
there you go. That guy gets a lot of referrals from us down here.
I know. He's Mr. Referral in Vallejo and all that area.
because no one wants to go out there.
Yeah.
So those are two perfect examples. It's going to happen. You may get great referrals now, but sometimes you're going to get a referral. Hey, my in-law wants to buy a house. They're qualified up to 700,000. Oh, I have to have a conversation with that, right? So the key thing with this is you have to have that mindset, like Rashali was saying, that it's not this transaction here. It's about keeping that person as a referral source as a whole, right? You want that full rooted, spider web going out where you're getting all those transactions. So treat it seriously. Never ghost a referral, regardless of they're not qualified. Have the tough conversations. Don't ever think that you're doing anyone a service or making them feel better by telling them a lie so that they feel good in that moment. Because you know what's going to happen.
I do have some very good resource of referrals. I do have some friends who are still in college, where they're still getting their PhD, and they have some visa issues, but they always give me very good referrals. Who are already in the industry, working in tech companies, and those are my good friends. So you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly, never know. So yes, exactly like Yolanda said. Make sure you treat everything the same way when it comes your way, regardless on how much they're qualified for.
Actually, I just celebrate a friend's birthday last night, and this morning I got a referral. Yeah. Nice.
And Yvette just shared that same point, and what you just shared. You never know when that referral could come in. Someone has a family deal go on where someone passes away, boom, that motivation is there. Someone who already has it in them that they want to buy or sell a house, and then all it takes is that one meeting, and then now you got a referral that comes out.
It's interesting that when you have very close friends or very good partnership, they're hosting events. And you're probably gonna bring some potential partners together, and maybe you can work together someday.
Yes.
And bring more referral. So one of my friends are already doing that. She know that I'm in the real estate business and trying to bring some potential buyers and some, landscape architects and contractors together to help me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was deeply touched by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great plan.
Smart guy.
Yeah, it sounds. I think double highly of it now. Whenever we close in Sacramento, whenever we close a transaction, now not every client wanted this, but we still offered it as a service. We threw them a housewarming party. Why did we throw them a housewarming party?
Great opportunity to spread the word about who you are, what you did for them.
Exactly. I say, hey, essentially, I'm going to be your party manager. Give me the lists of everyone you want to invite, and then we'll go and invite your neighbors if you'd also like us to invite your neighbors. So now we're going off running an errand for the seller here, but the reality is all we're doing is trying to get our name top of mind with those people and get our foot in the door to have a relationship down the line. But that's exactly what we would do. We would get our vendor partners to sponsor the event. They would bring the food, and so you would have the lender also come. Sometimes we'd get some title people to come in. Obviously, they can't spend any money, but still, like you were saying, bring everyone together, because that's the best way to start building that energy of referrals that way. All right, so the last part we're going to go over here is servicing our clients. Is the 5 S's: set, serve, survey, surpass, and sustain. First one is set the expectations at the beginning of the relationship. Present your value proposition, listen to your customer, and come to agreement. Come together, agree, and set mutual expectations. So one of the biggest misses I see people do is, hey, I got a referral. This person already trusts me. They want to buy a house with me. So let's look at homes immediately. You missed. You could have sat down with them and built the rapport, set expectations. I just had someone share with me today that they had a client who they've been working with for multiple years, and that client went to a new home builder. They were still looking with the agent, but the agent did not mention, hey, when you go, you're thinking about going to look at a new home build, call me first, right? Or you see an open house sign, don't just go into the open house, call me first. So you want to make sure that even if it's a referral, you're setting expectations up front of how you want to communicate and how you want, especially with how fast-paced the market is, how you want them reaching out to you when they see a house. See it on Zillow, see it on Redfin, call me, send it to me. Don't just click on the things inside there. And then I think number 3 is really important, coming to an agreement. That's not you giving them a piece of paper to telling them how it's going to be done. It's coming to an agreement that they do want to be communicated with that way. If you do Thursday updates and that's your shtick and that's how you do it, but what if they're super packed on Thursdays and Thursdays their day with their kids and they don't answer phone calls? Does that mean you're not going to talk to them that week? Absolutely not, right? You're going to find a day that works. So make sure you're coming to an agreement after you meet with people. Serve. Do what you said you would do and do it well. Have standards, leverage technology, leverage people. Have standards in your business. Please have standards in your business. If you do not have standards in your business, your client standards are going to make their way into your business every time. Does that mean that you ever sway from your standards? Yeah, sure. There's going to be times that happens. Key thing is though, have a set of standards up front so that you know what you're swaying from. If you don't have those set of standards, you're always just going to be going with whatever's good with that client, and that's not what you want. Number 2, leveraging technology. You are only but one person. We all have 24 hours in the day, right? And we know some people make buku bucks in those 24 hours they have in a day, and some people make nothing at all in those 24 hours. So to not be someone who's on that scale going back and forth, leverage technology, leverage automation. Make it easier for yourself to follow up with your people. What we're talking about right now, let's just use the example of using an Excel spreadsheet or using a CRM. That CRM is going to have way more tools as far as letting you know when to call somebody, sending out an email to someone, or just communicating with them in mass ways in general over an Excel spreadsheet. So make sure you're leveraging technology. And if you don't feel like you're using technology enough, come see me, and then we can talk through your business and we can see where we can implement some more technology in it. And then 3, leveraging people. Yvette, you gave that story where she got a referral and she said, oh yes, but I have a partner that works up there and I have someone that services you. Make sure that you're understanding you're part of the largest real estate network in the entire world. We only want to get into business with people who are like-minded like all of us, that we want to have fantastic, deliver a fantastic consumer experience and help people build generational wealth through the power of real estate. We all think that way. So leverage the people inside of your market centers, leverage people, your vendor affiliates, your partners outside. Make sure that you realize it's not just you running this. We want to have a full team when it comes to servicing your clients. Survey, check in regularly, listen for feedback. Here's what happens next. Develop standards and systems for surveying and checking in. One of my favorite things that Alan does is his protocol for anyone who's held an Alan Wayne house over, right? And does he deliver to you exactly how he expects you to follow up with the client? Yes. That's that check-in, right? So develop your own system for checking in with your clients and make sure other agents are doing that too. If you have someone holding a house open or they're showing your client for the afternoon because you can't make it. So the constant feedback and checking in with your clients. When we're not checking in for feedback with them, we know if they're having a poor experience internally, where's it going to go? Who are they going to talk to? Everyone in their database. They're going to go get advice from people in their database. Hey, Brian, man, yeah, so I listed with that guy, Kenny, and it's just been a horrible experience. Tell me, you just sold a house like last year. What was your experience like? Oh my gosh, that was amazing. She had this guy Raymond on her team and did right? And then what's going to happen? Brian's going to call Kenny and give those exact same instructions that he just got from the other person. So make sure you're that person that they're coming to. When there's a problem, make sure they're bringing it to you and they're not talking to their friends about it. Surpass, bring a high level of service and wow to your customers. Yvette, yeah, I keep bringing you up, but your office is lined with gift bags, right? When you go on a buyer appointment, you give a gift, right? Mm-hmm. You're creating an experience that people are going to remember. I heard a really good thing. I was sharing this with Yvette the other day. There's if you guys have heard of 72 Sold that we've kind of talked about a little bit. It's a selling program, but part of that selling program, what they require their agents to do is when you go on a listing appointment, take something, a gift that means a lot to you that has a story behind it. So I gave them the example of this agent in Fremont who thought it was a little silly. I will also agree that I'm not a gift giving person, and this creates an amazing experience. So she goes on the appointment, she brings a candle. It's a candle that her mom used to love and would always have lit in the house. And so that smell reminded her of her mother, and her mother needs this to her, so on and so forth. So she goes to the listing appointment, gives this candle, and tells the story. That person wasn't going to list for the next 6 months, and they were actually going to be going out of town to Europe. So they would talk to him after that and get things prepared. So after that meeting ended, the next 5 messages, communication, wasn't from agent to client. It was from client to agent, all about that candle. It was the first message was, oh my gosh, I can't believe you sent that candle. You gave me this candle. It's amazing. It's so sweet of you to even think of doing that. Next message was, I think I'm going to use the candle this week when we're having a dinner party over. The next message was, I lit the candle. You're right. The smell is insane. It's even better when it's lit. So are you creating that experience, right? When you're meeting with clients? Is there a lot of things that we do in our business that really is out of our control? Yeah. Yes, a lot of it is. We really only can control our actions. So when we think about it that way, if you can't control the lender, you can't control the rates, you can't control the affiliate showing up on time, you can't control a lot of those things. All you can control is what you do and your reaction to certain things. So go through your process. How are you delivering a wow experience? And it's not just showing up on time, right? That's our standard, is you should show up on time. So make sure, what does it look like for you sharing, deliver an amazing wow experience? So more than just the emotion, again, share knowledge. Sometimes we're cursed with the gift of the real estate knowledge. And sometimes clients think that they also cursed with the gift of real estate knowledge because there's so much information online. If we know there's so much information online, we know they're ingesting some sort of information somewhere, we have to make sure that our knowledge is coming over the top of that. So make sure you're sharing as well, and they're not just getting all their information from headlines or other real estate agents who are in their feed. Okay, well, sustain isn't in there. Sustain is going back into everything we just talked about with the 4 laws of your database. It's making sure those touches in there. So after you've closed escrow, you have touch points for checking in after you've closed. You have touch points for their child is going through something important in their life, right? So you need to make sure that you have these things set up over time so that you sustain this experience constantly. It's not, oh, I bought and sold with Raymond. It was the most amazing thing ever. And that was the end of it. It was, Raymond's an amazing person. He helped me sell my house X amount of years ago and then helped me buy another one. And the guy does this, 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 and this, right? So that's where we really want to take it up a notch. We're not just real estate agents. We are consultants for their wealth. We're consultants in their life as far as this is most likely their largest asset that they're ever going to handle, and they're trusting us with it. And I think we all know, we all read the headlines over these lawsuits going out over commissions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
That should be fingers pointing, you should feel this, but fingers pointing back at you that the client's not feeling the value on the other side. They think we're just, all colluding to pump up commissions. And we all know the reality of it is commissions are only shrinking as far as the margins are concerned. Now the volume's going up, yes. But the margins as far as our business is concerned are only shrinking. So we have to make sure that we're delivering a set of value that's not just a used car salesperson who's, oh yes, you want this this beautiful home right here? It's got brick out front and a beautiful porch. That's not what we're doing here, right? We really want to create clients for life, and we just so happen we also sell them real estate, right? And so that's what I really want you guys thinking about when it comes to the 4 laws of your database. Scan that QR code for you to get all the slides, but that's all I have for you. Any questions before we break?
I actually want to, the last session reminds me 2 things. First, always ask feedback from your clients. Who used your referral? Who used the contractor, the gardener, right? And how did
Very good point.
if they're not good and they choose the other, and you ask them why they choose it, and then maybe you can work with the other side as well, right? Make sure you get the best resources in your hand.
Absolutely.
And second is educate your friends and family, neighbors to when they refer clients to you. Sometimes they just, bring a number to the referral and say nothing. And sometimes it doesn't work out because some of the referrals that they work with, they be shop agents and ask the different friends. So make sure you are the most impressive data points in their mind, right? Just ask your friends to say some good things about you, how responsible you are, stuff like that. And then maybe you can get a better chance to get rid.
Well, and I think to that point, are you giving referrals to your friends? What are their businesses? What do they do in life? Now, I know a lot of us probably work in tech and things like that, but what are the other things that they're passionate about? Could they have a husband or a significant other who works in a field that you could give referrals for? And that's why I think the vendor script and talking to your clients about those partners, I think is a huge opportunity for you. Imagine someone calling you, just like Yolanda's talking about, which clearly you have a good, I like your friend base around you. But they call and say, hey, Francisco, I know you have an Etsy business selling handwritten cards and things like that. How can I help you? How can I support you in that business? I come across people all the time. Is there anything that I could potentially tell them or guide business your way? So exactly, show that the lines of referrals aren't just one way. That's a very good point. There was something else that you said that I was going to comment on.
Ooh, he looks hella tall. Oh yeah, send me his first and last name.
Eric Bradley. Can't remember. All right, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Londa. All right, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Is this recorded, Eric?
I believe it
think so.
should be. I don't know if Abigail, is this recorded?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Need the